go ahead and get started.
Introduce our new,
Yeah.
well, not, I don't know if they're new residents, let's introduce our residents that are living here at Knollwood. In fact, I'm gonna let them introduce themselves, and so we'll start, and you can tell them how long you've been here, your name, and
My name is Ellen King, and I've been here since May. I had a career in federal government, for 30+ years, 35 years. I've lived just down the street on 16th Street. After my husband died, the house was too big. The kids were out of it, and so I was looking for a place that was smaller and a little bit had more of a community feeling. We would fit back there very well. So, wonderful.
My name is Art Pine, and I am a journalist. I've lived here since early December. And I lived in a house in Chevy Chase area, which is 9 miles from here. I've lived in the Washington area since 1966. And just heard about my accident. Somebody else who had signed up on the voting list here told me about it. I came down with sort of an attitude of I wanted to age in place at home, and I'm not going to go and give them the institutional setting. And I walked in here and it took me about 3 minutes to change my mind and say yes, let me sign up, and I've been very since.
Wonderful. We love to hear that. I think some of the things people want to know about in general from you guys are, why did you pick Knollwood, and what are the things that you enjoy most about the community?
Let's start with that. I visited several places, and some were just way too big and too far out of the city. I really liked being not very far from where I used to live, and in easy distance from the things I like to do in the city, Smithsonian, Kennedy Center, and frankly, friends, and lots of restaurants, that's really fun. When I walked into Knollwood, it had a different feeling from some of the other places, and it just felt comfortable. I felt at home. I think it's the smaller size, but I think it's also the sense of community was, you could feel it even though you weren't yet part of it. And other places were much more, it's just individuals living in sort of apartments and not having that sense of community. And this was in the midst of COVID. A lot of it's losing. So, Knollwood's a special place. I think.
Absolutely. Someone who I just moved in, Nancy, she has a lot of similar things to say as well. And I think that's feedback Heidi and I often get from people who have joined our waiting list. What sets Knollwood apart is the fact that you have all of the wonderful amenities of DC, but we're in this quiet neighborhood. A lot of people similar to you who lived right around here, they wanted to stay right across from Rock Creek Park on our beautiful 16-acre property, who would get the benefit of neighborhood living while also being in the district proper.
And Art, you said that, excuse me, that you were gonna age in place at home.
I know, I like that. I like your story.
So,
I came to a conclusion based on 3 realizations. The first was that living at home was not costing me more than it had, but things along the way. So the house was in good shape. But 5 years from now, we started figuring out I might have to pay tens of thousands on new roof. The chimney. So I was looking ahead and saying, less ability to enhance that kind of thing 5 years from now. And if I lived at place like that, I wouldn't have to. Wouldn't have to pay property taxes separately because I would go and be part of the problem. And then the second thing that I began to realize was it is much easier if you think you're going to be assisted living or some more intensive care to start that now as an independent living apartment at an institution like this. And then it was complete. And finally, I have to think if I move now while I'm waiting for time to be able to get the place I live in. And I've just seen too many friends who members of the family say, well, we had to put him there because I was in the
Yes, absolutely.
The audience is asking if you could speak up just a little bit, and Lacey did bring in another microphone. But Art, you should come work here in the sales team, because everything that you're saying, I think, are things that Heidi and I really try and stress to our customers, our prospects, people coming in, you know, who have this idea in mind that they're gonna stay at home. You know, maybe they're trying to turn a blind eye to all of their different, not necessarily home projects, but the upkeep, things that come with owning a home, like a new roof, maybe cleaning the gutters. And just the foresight of moving into a community like this. And if and when something may happen, there are the higher levels here that you have access to. But also something that you mentioned that, you know, Heidi has previously talked about is when you come into independent living, when you make that conscious decision, you actually end up living in independent living longer. Heidi on previous webinars has mentioned studies that have proven this. And so just kind of reaffirming you're making the right choice, albeit a hard choice. Not for you, I guess. You came and loved it, and here you are today. We do have people, as I mentioned, they want to know what you like most about living here. It's probably good to talk about any activities that you're a part of. And then we can go through some of these other questions, okay?
And I just want to touch before we move on about sense of community, because we were talking about that a little bit before the webinar started today. When I was talking to both of you, we brought that up a little bit, and so I'll ask them again their favorite parts of Knollwood, but I've worked in several communities throughout my career, and I've worked in communities throughout the nation, and Knollwood is special and different. I can say from the heart, it's almost like I'm from a very small town in Utah, and it reminds me of a small town, which I love. It reminds me of when I come to work in the morning, I can say hi to everybody on a first basis, whether it's somebody that's cleaning or whether it's engineering or whether it's one of our residents. And I love that because I have worked in large communities where unfortunately I just can't know everybody in a 35-person community as easy. So I love that we just feel like a little small town. And everybody's so friendly. I've also worked in communities where people kind of get a little cliquish, where, you know, they kind of divide up into little groups, whether it's religion or politics or what they did for work. And at Knollwood, you know, there's so many different interesting backgrounds, but I find that they're very inclusive. People seem to be very friendly and welcoming, despite religion, politics, background, where they got educated, any of that just doesn't. And so correct me if I'm wrong, but that's been my perception working here. And I've really loved that about, and I'm new to the area, so maybe that's a DC thing, but I just love that about
I
Knollwood.
don't think it's particularly a DC thing.
Okay.
But it is a Knollwood thing, and I think that's what I like best about Knollwood is the sense of community, and I sensed it right, even probably the second visit maybe, that really persuaded me that feeling was really here. The nice thing is you can have as little or as much in the way of activities as you want, and you still feel part of the community. I've been working with two boys who bought a house up in West Virginia. So we've spent some time up there. So I haven't been here all that much during those times. And when I come back, it feels like home. Everybody says hello. I was West Virginia. It's just, it's nice. But there are lots of activities and some, we went to Swan Lake the other day and just get in the bus and go. So convenient. Or Frederick Douglass's house, which I've never done. I've been living here for 40 years. So, there are all these kinds of opportunities that, every time I've taken advantage of them, I really enjoy them.
We have so much to offer here in the way of activities. Actually, our last webinar was about that. What are some of the things that you participate in here?
Well, there's a names group that discusses issues, the fleet issues, and people are active in that. I have, I'm interested in the music that goes on the weekend. Residents here is a professional cellist. And she held a concert. It was wonderful for us. And we had the Army Day. And we have a lot of musical things that go on. But I think the community aspect is important. And you will find if we all assemble like today, it's because everybody represents that.
Yeah.
It's not just the residents of the, but the staff. It's just unbelievable. I've never had any problem that wasn't solved in this meeting easily.
That's great. That's really wonderful. I mean, I think, yes, we're all in this together. We all feel similarly about Knoll because it is such a wonderful place. One of the questions we got was how many people live here, and it's around, I usually say around 300. Most of the people who live here are like you all. They live in independent living in an apartment home. And you can be, as Janelle mentioned, you can be as involved as you want. Or if you're busy doing other things like, renovating a home in West Virginia, or you might have another house somewhere else, or whatever it may be, you can be as involved as you want, but it is a welcoming community. That's something both Heidi and I talk about all the time when we do tours. Just part of the move-in process. People are aware that you're coming in. We send out your bio and your picture. They, welcome you, invite you to lunch, dinner. It's so nice in that way because for so many people like you all, you're coming here as a solo person and it could be intimidating trying to meet others, but instead at Knoll, we try and just bring you in with us. It's really, really wonderful.
In the cafeteria, for example, there's a table called the friendship table. So you can go with just on your own, pick up your dinner and sit there. And I thought it's a little contrived at first, but it's not. It's very nice. It's very pleasant.
Yeah, and another point too is that Knollwood has, a lot of people think of Knollwood as for the military. And it's true, we have a lot of people that careers in the military or they're in it for a few years. But you don't get the impression that it's a real military style organization, quite the opposite. And we don't go around recognizing the ranks. It's everybody's first basis. But I think the military experience and the various civil service experience that people have here adds to feeling community and also makes for very interesting conversations that picture table or everywhere else. So you have what might have the conversation was about so important. Yeah, and we had 2 or 3 lawyers at the table by accident, just got into a conversation about this or that. About halfway through, here's Joe, here's Mary, who was a physician, and right in life, and we got to discussing a certain medical procedure and learned a lot about the background, because this person was in the beginning of the solution, but they were the problem and explained it.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I really enjoy having conversations with our residents and hearing their backgrounds or what they're still involved in.
Mhm.
A lot of folks are involved in volunteer work or community work or still civil work. So you were saying before that you travel, and I wanted to talk a little bit to the audience about the benefit of being able to just lock up your apartment and leave.
Well, that's it. Lived in my house. I had to check each time and I turned off the water switch. Somebody shut it down. Or did I have any kind of electrical problem in my startup? Or the garden perished while I'm away. Here I just walked out and I know everything will be taken care of. And that's true with everything about it.
Right, and you said you travel as well.
Yes, and you do have to sign out, and at first I thought, I don't want to sign out. And I thought, wait a minute. I do want to sign out because I like the fact that somebody checks whether or not I'm okay every day. You push your little button in the morning, and that's a good thing. That's one of the reasons I came here. So signing out is not a big issue. And,
I'm just gonna explain to the audience really quickly. We have a little check button in your bathroom and you push a button in the morning to, let the front desk know that you're safe for that day. And if you don't, then they'll give you a call and just check in on you. And then if you are not answering your phone, they'll send security up. So it's just a nice little level of security that you're being checked in on every day. We have here at Knollwood. And you can sign out and let us know that we don't need to do that for the time that you're gone. Have any of you had any mechanical issues? I mean, not mechanical, repairs with like a dishwasher or a light bulb going out or anything like that? Because I have those things in where I live and I'm responsible for them.
I had a leak in the bathroom, which they fixed within 24 hours, including replastering it. When they completely fixed it. And then the other one was my fault. The dryer doesn't vent outside, it vents into a hold it. Moisture, you have to dump it, and I didn't
Yes.
know that. So my broken dryer was not broken. I had to use it.
Well, that's okay. You're not the first person, so maybe we need to keep in mind for
Put that
newbies.
out there.
Mhm.
Yeah. on a new list.
Yep.
But I think it's just so convenient. Have you had any experiences where you've gotten to call the front desk and have them?
Yes, I moved, the day I moved in, I realized there was my apartment had been renovated. That it had one book for towels. So I called town and I said, I need a towel rack. And that, about 2 hours later, the crew came up and installed an extra wide towel. Just like that. I was just thinking at the time, how many days I'd have to wait for somebody to do something like that, or trips to the bottom of
Right. That's good to hear. That's.
That
Do
is
you have
good.
some questions that have come in? Helen?
We do. They are asking if we can try our best to be a little bit louder. So one question was, what is something you might have done differently when you were moving in? Any kind of hiccups or difficulties during the move-in process? Or do you just wish you were more prepared?
Well, I had to shrink a house that had, about 4,000 square feet down to an apartment that was a quarter or less. And I didn't quite get there. I have still some boxes in my apartment that are not yet unpacked because I just was tired of unpacking boxes. And so, you really you really can do with less, and that's the trick. Right. So
That,
that'd be my tip.
that was my big problem too on the, my real estate agent sold the house before I moved in. Said, if you're going to move, you need to be ruthless about what you leave behind or throw out. Donations. I thought I was being ruthless, but I was nowhere near ruthless enough. I arrived with 50 boxes of various sizes. It took me 3 weeks to be ruthless then, and then I had to go deliver in different places. So if you think you're being ruthless, you're not.
There's your advice. Well, it doesn't sound like either one of you, my advice is to use a moving organizer. We can refer one, but they will pack and unpack, and I know that sometimes people want to, do it themselves, whether it's to save some money or whether it's because you want to organize your own way. But they will not leave you until every last item is unpacked and hung up. And so I think that's a nice little package to have as well.
Would have been.
Mhm.
Because we'll put you up in the guest suite the day the movers are here, and then you walk into your apartment and it's done. And so that's my 2 cents for anybody, is to really, even if you've got great family that's willing, or son with a truck, I would really recommend using an actual moving organizing company that will take you from start to finish.
It is nice to do that. And honestly, good on Art for taking the project all the way to the end, because it's not easy to do that. There are lots of people who still have boxes.
Yeah.
And some people who have
For
been here
years.
for, 5+ years and they're still working through boxes. So it is a project, and sometimes it is nice to have that third party who may not have the same emotional ties to your belongings as you. That maybe they can be ruthless sometimes when you can't be. And it does just take some of the weight of it all off of your shoulders, which is really nice. Someone did ask about parking. Did either of you bring a car to Knollwood?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And I have a parking place right out front.
Same here.
Very handy.
Very convenient,
And I
yes.
think there's a guard that walks up and down, a security person that walks up and down at nighttime, so it's, that part's easy too.
That brings up to an example of, so typically how the staff works. I was out unloading things from my car, which was near the loading dock, but about 200 feet away. And the security car stopped, and the security officer inside said, why don't you just park where the loading dock is? And I said, because it says no parking. So don't worry about that. You're delivering things to your apartment. Just park. And I don't think that happens
No, that's really nice.
anywhere else. It's sort of typical little things as well as the big things.
Yeah, you do find that more often here because we are a small community. We can navigate things a little bit more smoothly, be more flexible if you need to unload. We've had 2 move-ins on the same day a couple times. It's not ideal, but we make it work because ultimately this is your home. We're trying to provide good customer service. And you want to feel like you're getting your money's worth. Like if you're choosing to opt into a community like Knollwood, you want to feel great about everything. And you see that in those little gestures from staff and other residents.
Yeah, and by the way, that'll help you hang pictures and mirrors and all of that, and the ones they've hung have stayed on the wall.
Yeah.
Well, part of the reason we do that is because we are made out of concrete.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
two
they
good
know,
reasons to
they
know
know how
that.
to do it better than we do.
Yes,
Or that's
and-
what I found.
And
anyway.
concrete walls brings us to, Art is learning to play the horn. And I tease about that when people say, can I bring a dog? Can I bring my piano? Can I learn to play the horn? Well, we have concrete walls, so your neighbors may not hear you.
So far, we haven't had any complaints.
They would probably enjoy it. So what is our other questions? Helen, does that cover all of that?
That's it. Just some feedback about, us being too quiet, which actually, we can think about that for next time. you know, we always enjoy doing these because you never know what people are gonna bring to the table. And I think what has been so nice having the two of you on today is just how you as residents are reiterating all of the things we highlight about how wonderful the community is. And we tell people, a prospect that I'm working with, let's say, I always recommend to them, come back and engage with us more. Come and get, because for some people it clicks right away that just like the two of you, you're like, oh, I feel the community here. I feel how wonderful it is. And for some people, it may take a little bit longer, but the more you engage with us, the more you will see how tight knit and close this community is and all of the wonderful things that we have to offer here.
I have a question. Are there any restrictions other than possibly space on moving in and playing your baby grand piano? Quite a few of our residents actually have a baby grand, so no, there is no restrictions on bringing it or playing it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's probably something in our resident information guide that's, please don't be playing it in the middle of the night, but I think it's really just about common courtesy and respect, and otherwise go crazy. Some people who join our waiting list specify, I need a living room that will fit my piano. That's the floor plan I need. So if it's
Absolutely.
really important to you, let's see how we can make it work.
We have quite a few here, and we do also have a few, we have two pianos that are in open space, free space that you're welcome to use as well. We actually welcome residents to stop by and play the piano because it's like a little mini free concert. So that's also available. I want to hold up our calendar. This is our calendar for March, and of course you can't see anything from there. If you'd like a calendar emailed to you, please leave your email in the message down below, and I will email you one. Most of our activities are only reserved for our residents. Some our waitlist members can attend. Unfortunately, we don't open them to the public because they get filled up very quickly. But if you'd like to know a little bit of what kind of activities they do, there is all kinds of different activities going on, from visiting gardens to private tours of historical sites, museums, and then there's at least 3 to 5 exercise activities per week.
Yep.
So lots to do, and
Mhm.
and even if you don't do all the activities, because both of you are very involved in doing other things with your family and your own lives, you can be, like you said, Ellen, is involved as you want to or not, and kind of do what you give and take a little bit. of
Yeah,
the different things.
absolutely.
There's just so many different interests to do.
And one thing to just kind of reiterate on this theme of community that keeps coming up in discussion today. Right now, these guys are actually missing the hall coffee, which is the first Tuesday of every month. It's, we put all of these tables on our main concourse, our big large hallway, and you have coffee and pastries with other people, other residents from all levels of care. Mostly independent living residents though, and we make announcements. We talk about exciting things coming up on the calendar that Heidi just featured, or what's special happening in the dining room that month. And again, it's just about everybody coming together and feeling like we're all a part of this place and we're all in the know. And there's open lines of dialogue and communication between management and residents, and it's just like community, it really is. Go ahead, Art.
Well, I was going to say the community, the whole concept of it sounds as though we're making it up. I was skeptical about it too, but it's there, it's palpable. It really is more than anything else. Schedules what makes this place tick.
I agree 100%. I really do. And we do have great activities. The food is very reasonable and tasty, and there's all of these other things. But when I do a tour of our community, I've worked at communities with the brand new marble floors and really beautiful brand new builds. We're 62 years old here at Knollwood. When I do a tour here, the thing that I try to do the most is to either introduce you to people that are walking around or to get you to come back, because I say it every single time and I'll continue to say it. the best part of Knollwood is the people. It truly is. It's, it's not the real estate, it's the people. And it's not just the people who live here, it's the people who work here. We have employees that have been here for over 25 years. I have never worked in a community like that before. So it's a really fantastic place. So if you haven't toured yet, please come and tour and leave me your email and your phone number so that I can call you and schedule a time to do that.
Absolutely. We got a question asking how involved are the residents in organizing of the community programs? And we did talk a little bit about this on our last webinar. But it is, there's a give and take. There's clubs and committees and the Knollwood Residents Association.
Talk about the Knollwood Resident Association a little bit. Are either one of you involved in that?
If, so it's going to begin on Thursday, then on the finance committee.
Awesome.
But they're quite involved in all aspects of the activities. But there are a couple of staff members who organize them, go out to the respective place and check it out, make sure there's parking for the bus and all of those kinds of things. And arrange often, private tours of historical places. I think they went on one, it's super important.
Wow.
But it's both the staff and the residents working together.
Even if you lived in Washington for a while, let's pick something, you go to the Kennedy Center. When you go from here to Sparkle Blue, you don't have to worry about getting there. You don't have to worry about going and having a car. Walking, arranging for the tickets. So really, even if you are able to go on, there's an advantage to going.
Yeah, the ease of it all. Absolutely, exactly.
Well, and some of the tours are private, meaning that they're open only to Knollwood. So
Mhm.
sometimes I'll go to a museum or a gallery or a historical site for a private tour that at that time it's only Knollwood there, which I think would be nice as well, because you're not trying to navigate whether you have a walker or a scooter or a cane or you're a little unstable.
Mhm.
Crowds can be a little nerve wracking. And it's nice to be able to navigate the area all by with just us.
Yeah.
So,
And it's really nice to, you mentioned how there is this kind of feedback. I know if, there is something great that a group of residents wants to go see at Ford's Theater and they give Janie that feedback, she will see what she can do to make it work. And it's so nice. Or if someone says, oh, hey, I know this opera singer, Kathy, can you fit this on the schedule somewhere? They're so wonderful about that. And it really does feel like they're working for you, but to make the activities and the programs that happen here not only tailored to you, but you're a part of the process too, which is really nice. Okay, yeah, I think that's about it.
well, I'm gonna touch really
Okay.
quick on dining because they do want to hear about that. So do either one of you have any experience with the dining room, and are either one of you vegetarian?
I'm not a vegetarian, but they have a lot of, they have some selection of vegetarian meals. And I think if you were a vegetarian, you could eat at every meal. You may not get quite as broad a selection as other people do, but they have these mindful meals every week. They're mostly vegetarian.
And the portions are sensibly sized.
Yeah.
If you go to a restaurant, like when you get twice, 3 times what you can. Just,
The other thing I've noticed is on the menu, everything was marked either gluten-free or vegetarian or vegan. So you know what you're getting
and
order.
in comparison to some places, we only get charged for what we order. You don't get a standard meal bill. So I'm tired of that, whether you eat, so when I'm away, I don't pay more for the fees.
Right, yes, that's very nice.
That was one of the things that attracted me here because I enjoy cooking. And the truth is, I've eaten at the dining room more often than I thought I would, just because it's pleasant. It is easy.
Yes,
I actually take advantage of the dining room at Knollwood like a resident. I'm an empty nester, I'm single, and I eat 2 meals a day here, and on weekends I'm lost because I don't grocery shop anymore. So as far as the vegetarian question, I am not a vegetarian, however, I eat the salad bar every day, and we have a really wonderful salad bar, so that is an option. They do have some wonderful vegetarian protein like chickpeas and different things.
They do tofu
options.
sometimes, and the
Tofu,
mindful meals that you
yes.
mentioned are, those are things
Beans,
Heidi and I
there's
eat
lots of-
frequently, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of great options for protein,
Mhm.
even if you're a vegetarian. So there are some options, yes. All right, how are we on time?
It's almost 10:40. We're doing great.
And there's a couple more.
Okay.
So we've got some more questions coming. We appreciate your questions.
Is there anything that comes to the top of your mind that we didn't cover just when you're thinking about Knollwood, making this decision, making the move? Any additional thing that either of you want to drive home?
No, I think you've covered most of them.
Somebody, I was talking about Laura when I went out with some friends the other night. And someone said, well, we've just spent half an hour listening to you about Knollwood, and it's all positive. Now tell us the negative side. And I thought about it, and I couldn't answer it. I finally came up with one. If you try to do even half the number of activities we have available, you'd be exhausted.
That is true. I have one final question. It says, do you provide nutrition information? So actually, that was another thing I liked, is the meals actually have the calorie count written to the side of them as well. So it will tell you whether it's vegan, vegetarian, it will tell you the calorie count,
And the sodium.
and yes, sodium as well. So everything is very well marked on everything for us.
Yeah. Well, this was a really wonderful chance to further engage with the two of you. We kind of jumped right in. We sort of went past our intro to Knollwood that we usually do. We didn't even introduce ourselves. The fact that I'm Helen and this is Heidi. We are sales counselors here at Knollwood. We do these webinars once a month on different topics, but the Meet the Residents really is one of
Our favorite.
yeah, and for the audience as well, just because I always recommend, people go on to knollwoodcommunity.org, our website, under the events page, they can find these because they are recorded, they're stored there. And you can, if you have some time, go through and get to know some of the other residents. As someone coming in, kind of gives you a little bit of insight into other people you're living with and what they like about it, what made them decide to join a place like this. And the customers or prospects, they can hear it from your own mouths, what makes Knollwood so great. So we really enjoy that part of it as well. You make our job a little bit easier.
Yes. I know that Knollwood is a really great place because what has happened with me here, and I haven't really had this experience in other places I've worked, is I'll move somebody in and then along comes 4 to 5 of their friends
Yes.
to join our wait list. And I love that because I used to, try to do that at other communities. Don't you want your neighbors to be your friends? And at Knollwood, every time I join somebody on my wait list, I have 3 or 4 or 5 other people trickle in, whether they all worked in the same firm or they all live on the same block. And I love that about Knollwood. And so we already here do have a lot of friend groups, but like I said, they're very inclusive as well.
Yeah, it's true. We really would say so many of the people who come in tour or who ultimately move into Knollwood do come from word of mouth referrals from either people who have friends here or some have had family members who have lived here. But Knollwood has a good reputation and people talk about these things that you all have mentioned time and time again during this webinar. The sense of community, how welcoming it is, all of the wonderful activities. And it really just shines a light on this sort of hidden gem up in Northwest DC that we have here.
Speaking of families, that's another fun thing about having a community that's a little bit older is I've now had, we've had 3 generations where, you know, grandpa was here, mom was here, living in Monaco. I have somebody in their fifties who's joined my wait list. They don't plan on meeting for 20 years, but mom is here. Yep, and so this is what I'm coming, even though they live in Texas, you know, not even retired yet. So I think that just speaks a lot. Itself, but, so this is your final time to give us any questions you have, or give us your email if you'd like to take a tour. Please let us know if you'd like to sign up, if you'd like to take a tour and have lunch at our friendship table. That's something that you can do as well the same day. I often sit people down.
Yeah, and I would just say, we do have some open houses coming up next month. So to make sure you get an invite for that, you can leave us your email here on the webinar. You can go to knollwoodcommunity.org and either send us an email or do a contact us page, or you can call us at 202-541-0149. We do have a webinar next month, independent versus assisted. That will be great. And right after that, we're having an assisted living open house. So we'll go hand in hand together. We want to thank you all for your time today. We hope you enjoyed this. We want to thank our guests.
Thank you.
And we hope you have a wonderful day, and you know that our weather gets out of this dreary yuckiness.
Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Ellen and Mark, for joining us,
Thank
and
you.
everybody have a wonderful day today, and stay safe and dry.
See you next time.
Bye-bye.